Hi there, my name is Mojo Dallas, and I'm going to show you a piece of software that has been developed as a proof of concept to be a companion piece of software to Smith Micro's Poser game development software. Poser game development software was developed to take content out of Poser in terms of animations or props or characters and export them in an FBX uh, format to be able to import it into games. And what this software does is a software written in Unreal Engine is an example of how you could bring this software in and develop a game. Now the game I developed in it is basically just a kind of a light version of the way Poser works, and I've done that because I felt that would be um, a good transition from people that are used to Poser to see how you could do similar things that you're used to doing in Poser inside of a game engine, inside of the game itself. So we'll go ahead and start. The software is running in Windows right now, and you'll see on the top here there's a typical menu for load, save, exit game with some options for the game and help system. And the real power is over here in the menu on the right hand side, which is a library menu, much like what's available in Poser. In fact, it looks an awful lot like what's in Poser, and that was done intentionally. As you can see, I've even used the same icons up here. There's the figures that have been downloaded from Poser and implemented in this software. Poses for those figures. Expressions I haven't implemented yet, but will be in the near future. Um, Props that came from Poser. Some lights you can go ahead and set in a scene. Some cameras, much like again like Poser. Materials, which really isn't implemented again in this version. And levels, which are really scenes, so different places you can go inside of the game with your character. If you look at the character, right now we've got Ryan in his cargo shorts, and you all recognize him. The Ryan is in a scene here, or a level that I developed. Well, there's a number of buildings and a pool and a hotel over here that I call Maui Pool, which reminds me of a place that I actually visited in Hawaii. You go ahead right now and let me click on Ryan, and he'll move around the game like you'd expect, like most games. I've got him walking. Now the animations I brought in from Poser as well, and it's a couple of animations that have been integrated together in something called a blend space in Unreal Engine, because he'll stop and he idles and then he starts walking. But anyway, going back to the figures here, I've got a number of figures I've loaded just to test all the various skeletons, and they all have worked. For example, I have Marcus, which is another version of Ryan, with different textures, different UVs, and different morphs. And I brought in other characters from different versions, such as Allison. And again, you can see there's Allison walks a little bit differently because I brought in some different animations from Poser to use with her, and Sydney, and all the typical characters. I've even brought in Andy, nice color, reflective Andy, Creech, and so on. And you can see I can go up and down. You can add a number of things to the inventory. Another thing I want to show here real quick before I forget is the inventory menu here. While you use it a lot, once you get into a game and you just want to play, you can go ahead and hide him over to the right hand side, and he disappears or comes back in. Okay, the next thing we can go look at is poses. The thing about poses, they're a lot more heavy on animation inside of this software in a game, because it's a game, so you expect things to be moving more than just in Poser, where you did a lot of posing and taking pictures. You'll be able to pose and take pictures here in this software as well as take movies. We're going ahead and here's an example of a static pose. It's just loaded. There he is, sitting in midair, but sitting. We can go back to the idle walk. And we saw the walk, and or I created a run here for him, so you can see him just going a little bit faster. And these are used using Walk Designer. Even got the robot in here again, coming out of Poser. The other area is props. If I look at props, I can go ahead and let's load a prop. Here's a chair. See the chair there? You click on the chair, right click on the chair. You can change its location, X, Y, Z axis. Let's move them up 100 centimeters. Boom. The other thing you can do is rotate him, scale him. You can set physics, which is interesting because it's a game, and he has, the object will then have physics, and then you can go ahead and it's a regular object in the game, and you can push him around like a regular physical object. The other areas here that I brought in, let's maybe go in here where it's a little darker. I'm going to walk through my window here. Is how about some lights? About a point light. Right click on him. Again, you can move him up, down, and sideways, back and forth, just like the prop. You can change its intensity, make him a lot brighter, less bright. You can go ahead and change its color. Let's make it a red light here, and so on. Spotlight's the same thing. The difference here, of course, is you've got a couple extra things you can do, like set its inner and outer cores. So you can make there's a spotlight being very bright, but then being a little bit softer, and so on. Cameras. Now let's go ahead outside again. The cameras are there's 4 basic cameras. The first one is the classic third person. That's what we've been using all this time. It follows the character, but allows you to go ahead and pan and orbit around it. The third person camera just follows them. You can't do the panning that you were doing before. You can apply transformations to move them in, out, up or down in relation to the character. You can change a bunch of camera settings. For example, saturation here I'll change to make it much more brighter, much more vivid, and all the other typical very advanced camera settings, much again like you can do in Poser. There's a number of them here in Unreal Engine and in this game, in this implementation. First person shooter, as you'd expect, just puts him right where his eyes are. In fact, you can look down and see it is him. There's his feet. And free camera just allows you to put a camera anywhere in the scene and switch to it and have a view of your character that you can go use. The last thing here I want to show real quick is scenes and levels. If you look at levels, you can go ahead and set them up, and I brought in 3 from Poser. I have one that I just built myself, and then the fifth one here is one that was developed by Unreal Engine. I just clicked on the pad, and here I am at the pad, and everybody kind of recognizes this from Poser. And then if we go back at levels, we can go ahead and I brought in Spy Pack, which is an outdoor scene again from Smith Micro. And I combined it with atmospheric and settings inside of Unreal Engine to make it a much more rich environment to be able to go ahead and walk around and develop a scene and develop a game with lights and so on. And so that's all I basically wanted to show. I'll go ahead and jump up to another one as I close out here. It'll take a few seconds to load, which is actually one brought to you by Unreal Engine. And it provides what's called a procedural landscape, which goes on for theoretically or virtual mile after mile after mile inside of the game, and you can go ahead and run around it. And it's just an amazing scene. This is available for free from Unreal Engine. Well, thanks you for watching. We'll go ahead and update you in the next couple months about how this is going and how you might be able to get your hands on it yourself. Again, thanks for coming by.